Hello, welcome back to Planet Sail. I'm in Dusseldorf and it's showtime at the world's biggest marine sports show. This show is absolutely massive. 17 halls packed with everything from super yachts to scuba diving, dinghies to yachts. It's absolutely incredible. The fact of the matter is, if it isn't here, it probably doesn't exist. I have to admit something. It won't be a surprise to my wife, but I've been a boat spotter for many years, and I'm very pleased that I'm joined by a fellow boat spotter and also my fellow colleague at Yachting World. And when it comes to spotting boats and testing boats, there's not many people who've sailed more boats than Toby sailed. How many do you think you... Oh, me maybe. No, I don't know. How many did you sail last year, do you reckon?
I think it's on average at probably about 20, 25.
Yeah. It's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on in the scene. So we're here at Dusseldorf. We're going to run through just a few of the boats that have caught our eye. There's so much to see here, but what's caught your eye here?
At the show itself, I think it's a combination of the boats we saw and sailed in the latter part of last year that were launched, at the end of the summer, and what's been unveiled here. So I think on the former front, 2019 saw a sort of regeneration of the race boats, and they are all exhibited here really, well, a lot of them for the first time together, and that was exciting because we saw the short-handed racing come back with a bang in the sort of 30-foot sector. Boats, typically I'm talking about, are the Dailer 31 design, the Swan Club Swan 36, J99, JPK 1080, and the Jeannot Sunfast 330. And I think for all these boats to come in one season effectively, together with the Figaro that launched the year before, it's amazing, really, that there's that much demand for short-handed racing again.
That Dailer's interesting, isn't it? Because there's a production yard who's had the balls to go out there and build what is essentially just a race boat. And I'm struggling to think, apart from Beneteau with the Figaro, I'm struggling to think of another company that's gone out and built a race boat with so many bits and pieces on it. And that's got everything on it.
Yeah, it has, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. I think the others are probably IRC focused. Perhaps the Club Swan 36 would be the other. I mean, that's... some investment needed there, and quite a punchy move to do that, but great result. I mean, probably the most fun I've sailed on any production boat, so I certainly enjoyed that one.
Talking to production boats and the market, I know the 50-foot cruiser market seems to have gone nuts as well across the whole board, doesn't it?
I think I break it down to race and space, and I think it's the space race now, and that counts from entry-level boats right up to the 60-foot luxury premium cruisers. And that space, I think, is modern hull shapes. And we've seen this sort of explosion in volume that you can get in. It makes you reevaluate what you'd expect from a 35 or a 40-foot yacht now, or a 50-foot yacht, because you just get more and more space in both ends. You've got more beam, you've got fuller bows, and they're just packing in, whether it's stowage space, cabin space, but it's applicable right the way through. When I think of the boats that have launched here or recently, that applies to an entry-level boat like the Oceanus 30.1, which we sailed for Yacht of the Year, and new boat here, there's the Moody DS 41 behind us. I mean, it's astonishing volume, although it's a two-cabin boat, but that there, you're getting all of the stowage volume you could use and more. Same applies for the entry-level catamarans like the XS11, which I had a look at yesterday, and the Barley's new Cat Space 40-foot catamaran. But 4 cabins with en-suites. It's astonishing, really, the space. To come back to your question about the 50-foot, the same applies. The Oyster 565, the ML60, again, both Yacht of the Year shortlisted boats. Tons of volume, and now contests have come here at the show with their 55, and it's that re-evaluation of what you've previously thought was a 55-footer, and then hang on a second, this has now got a both a dinghy garage in it and a sail locker, and you've still got all this space inside.
And the Beneteau comes into that category as well, doesn't it? The
Absolutely.
first, what is it, 53?
53, yeah.
I mean, that's a vast boat.
Yeah. When you look at it from the dock at the transom, you just see all of this beam that, you know, racing enthusiasts would know. You know, they've seen it for quite a few years, but now I think you're getting this sort of volume and beam without too much of the drawbacks. You know, penalties of them being sticky and light. They're keeping the actual water lines relatively narrow. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of clever design going on to get that volume in and essentially to the end customer, the value for money.
And they're all growing twin rudders. That's the other thing I noticed.
Yeah.
Twin rudders and stern thrusters. I've never seen so many stern thrusters on the backs of boats as this year. But of course, if you've got twin rudders, you're going to have a stern thruster, right? Particularly on a big boat, because you can't really manoeuvre it because you get no prop wash over the rudder blades.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see how stern thrusters would have been, even just a few years ago, sort of laughed at, or you get some strange looks. Now, sort of standard. And I mean, I'm sure I know that you've tried one as well, and I have as well. And it's difficult to go back when you sat in the cockpit and gone, exactly. And the boat's turned around its keel. It's why would you do anything else?
Well, and it's not even big boats, really. I mean, we're on the Holberg Rassi stand. They've launched the 40 here, which is a 40-foot yacht. Again, packs in the volume, but Magnus says that everyone takes a stern thruster.
Really?
On a 40-foot yacht. Yeah.
Crikey.
Again, you get used to it. Why not have it?
Yeah.
You know,
I suppose they've got a lot more reliable as well.
They're a lot more reliable, and it's not something that's causing you any drag. It's one of those options that everyone's ticking. Yeah,
it is. Now, what have you seen that has really grabbed you? It's a little bit left field. Is there anything out there that you thought, didn't expect to see that?
Yeah, a few boats. I was expecting to see the Dragonfly 40. I'm a big fan of Dragonfly trimarans. I think, you know, they give you the performance that monohull sailors love in a multi-hull, and that's their biggest boat yet, and I think they've done a lovely job with that, so that was good to see. There is perhaps a little glimpse at the future of boat building with this green line I've got there, Day Sailor, which is a flax built 27-foot Day Sailor.
That's a really interesting story, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think there's quite a few boat builders here looking at that, thinking, oh, hang on, we should be looking at this sort of material for the future. And yeah, I think a lot of the boats we've already mentioned in this, but there's a lot coming up this year. I think both with Dusseldorf here, what's launching, but also Cannes Boat Show, there's a lot of new models to come launching this summer as well.
One of the boats that caught my eye, and most of the above that you've just mentioned, but the one that I was quite surprised at, mainly because it was developed just around the corner from where I live and I didn't know anything about it, was the RS, who are obviously well known for their dinghy range. RS launching this electric rib, and that seems to have caught loads of people by surprise, and it's absolutely fascinating. It's quite expensive, but it's a really interesting boat, not just because it's an electric rib, but it's got this special kill cord system. It's a bit like these intelligent keys that we've all got in our cars now, you know, the fobs, and you clip it on the boat, and obviously if it comes off, it stops the boat like a kill cord was. But this little device, the rock device, can be programmed so that if you're a parent, for example, and you don't want your kids to be driving the rib more than 10 knots, then you program it, and when they put their own fob on there, they can't drive more than 10 knots. You can geofence it as well, so you can stop them going too far out. There's an alarm, and you can monitor it as well. It's a really, really cleverly thought out boat, and it's designed by Joe Richards, a sailing designer. So it surprised me because I didn't know about it happening, but also I felt rather proud that it was the sailing world that's leading the revolution in electric boats. At least that's how I'm going to describe it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, RS have done a lot with sustainable boat building and bringing materials in that are, you know, have green credentials. And so it's interesting that they've moved to that. I haven't moved out of the sailing boat hall yet, but I'll have to go and have a look at that one.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Here we are in hall, what are we in?
16
of 17 halls. We've both been here 4 days and I haven't got out of these 2 halls yet.
I know.
Still, there we go. Anyway, Toby, great to catch up with you again.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. You see, when 2 boat spotters get together, it goes on for, look at that, quite a few minutes. Anyway.
We haven't even had a beer yet.
No, we haven't. I'll tell you what, let's do that. See you next time. Cheers.